What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Injection of Inspiration, where every single Saturday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, inject you with a daily dose of motivational advice, helpful tips, and all that other great positive shit. So here for today's show, I do want to share a story from about a few weeks ago. Not really a story, but rather an experience. A few weeks back at this point, I had the entire house to myself. I still live with my parents, obviously. I just graduated college less than a year ago. They went off on vacation. They had already pre-planned their April vacation to Florida, and knowing that I have class during the week, my mom did not include me on said trip. And initially, I was a little, frustrated, okay, 1 week of class, and I only have class on a few days out of the week, so if I miss 1 or 2 classes, it's not the end of the world. But I'm thinking, okay, this might be for the better. They're gone for a week. My mom, my stepdad, my brother, and even my younger sister, my 5-year-old sister, all gone for an entire week. I have the entire house to myself. And never once did I look at this as a bad thing. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do alone? How will I survive? Blah, blah, blah. I'll be so scared. I'll be so nervous. I'll be so anxious. Not once. I always enjoyed the weekends during my time in college where my roommate would go away for the entire weekend. They would go home. Whether it was freshman year or any subsequent year after that, or the roommate that ended up rooming for the final 3 years of my college career, he would go away for a weekend because he lived so close. He would go home to see family, for a birthday, to record a project, blah, blah, blah. So I would have the entire place to myself, the entire dorm. And it's better when I have the entire house to myself, but the entire dorm back then was a big fucking deal. It was a big deal. It gave me more time to record stuff like this, to watch stuff on my TV that I never really had the chance to watch, because you'd always be playing fucking video games or some shit. And not be bothered. I'm the type of person that does not like to be bothered. And I try not to say that in like an arrogant way, but I like to be by myself. Being alone is okay. Being alone is a good thing, can be a good thing. Maybe not constantly, but being alone gives you an opportunity to collect your thoughts, think about things, not constantly being distracted, which is not always a bad thing. You know, watching movies, watching shows, doing stuff with people can be great. Sometimes being alone can be a bad thing, especially coming off like a bad breakup or a horrific event or whatever, and obviously being busy can get your mind off things, and that's great, and I would strongly suggest you do that as well. But just in general, just to be alone for a little while, like embrace it. Don't be so anxious. You don't always have to go out running and doing this and that and going to this guy, going to this person, hanging out with that guy. Like, dude, just chill out and enjoy life just by yourself. Being alone, you can create a lot of entertainment for yourself, much more than you probably think you're capable of. But if you really sat down and found things to do to entertain yourself, being alone, it's possible. It is absolutely possible. And don't think it isn't. So being alone is okay, despite what some people might tell you, and especially relationship-wise. I cannot stress that enough, and I'm sure I've said it before here on the show. But it's like being alone is not a fucking bad thing. Some people are just not independent, like whatsoever. And some people cannot stand being alone. They just can't. They just can't stand being alone. And they always have to be with someone, whether it's in a relationship or they always have to be hanging out with their friends. It's like, chill out, enjoy the peace and quiet by yourself. Wake up and smell the fucking roses for 5 minutes. And just enjoy life for what it is. You don't always have to be doing something. I mean, I struggle with that because I like to be a productive person. But I can be productive on my own. I'm talking about the people that always have to surround themselves with other people because they can't stand being alone. And that's okay. But you have to learn to be more independent. And being alone for a few days at a time can be much more of a gratifying experience than you might realize. So just try it. You might not like it at first, but once you give it time and you start to do things on your own, eat by yourself, go to sleep by yourself, watch a show by yourself, you're not being distracted. You'll start to pick up on things that you weren't realizing before because those people that you were always with were distracting you from what's fucking right in front of you. So try to appreciate that, enjoy that, appreciate that. And telling you firsthand here, I enjoyed having the whole house to myself with that entire week. It made me sad when my family came back, and I love them to death. But it's like I enjoy having, the space and time to myself. And it's something that you can really learn a lot about yourself if you take the time to do that. I can't even tell you the amount of times in college where I would go to eat by myself, I know part of the college experience is going to dinner with your friends and blah, blah, blah. And I typically did that more often than not, but like if my roommate was busy, I didn't not eat. I would see some people like, oh, my roommate can't go to dinner with me tonight, so I'm not going to eat. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Are you sacrificing food here because your friend won't go sit with you for 5 minutes? Like, get the fuck over yourself. It's like, it's okay to sit down and eat by yourself for 10 minutes. And every single time I would be out of there so fucking quick. I would get my food, usually watch something on my phone, whether it be on the network or listen to something like a podcast or something, eat, and then get out of there in maybe 15 minutes or less. 15 minutes or less, usually around 10 minutes. And it would be the quickest experience ever, and I would use that time I'd be wasting, usually with other people doing nothing, sitting there on my phone saying nothing, and use that towards something more productive when I got back to my dorm a little while later. So again, being alone is okay. Look at the benefits. Maybe not always, especially coming off a tragic event. You should be surrounding yourself with people that you care and love, that you care about and love you, and you love them, blah, blah, blah. But more often than not, being alone is not a bad thing, so don't look at it that way. But that is my 2 cents for today's injection of inspiration. Thank you for checking out the show. I appreciate it. We will be back next Saturday, as always, with another all-new installment of Injection of Inspiration. In the meantime, and in between time, be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. All that stuff is amazingly appreciated. Have a great rest of your weekend, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.